What is luck? Welcome to Philosopher's Corner. I'm John. What is luck? The standard definition of luck is something fortunate happening to someone seemingly randomly. And also, they say fate or lot in life. Now, from a philosophical perspective, those definitions they're very different because to have something randomly happen that into somebody's life is a far different thing to say that it's somebody's lot or fate, because fate implies that there's a design happening that we can't see, whereas just something good happening, or well, just something happening, because there is bad luck, implies randomness. And so I guess that's where the philosophers come in with luck. Is it random, or is there some behind the scenes timing to it? Like, we can all agree that luck exists. We agree that there's good luck, and we agree that there's bad luck. And some people spend their entire lives trying to find a way to divine luck. You know, the old stories of people at the horse tracks or the casinos, or, you know, artists trying to get their big break or whatever it is. A lot of people strategize for luck in their life. They come up with strategies where they hold space and they hold time to try to be available for luck to strike. And sometimes it works for those people, and sometimes it doesn't work for those people. Lots of people holding out for their lucky break. And on the flip side of the good side of luck, there's lots of people who are living their life, and their tagline in life is, if it weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck. And obviously they have a pessimistic view about the timing of random acts in their life, or seemingly random acts. But as we look across the human diaspora through time, we see that luck is a recurring phenomenon, whether it's good luck, bad luck, this, that, whatever. The common theme of luck, whether it's gambling or events going the right way or the news coming in at the right moment, is that it's intricately linked to timing and the perception of the timing of a sequenced, seemingly random event in the life of the person observing it. And then it can either be positive or negative in their life. But it's a random thing that comes in at a particular timing that makes itself apparent, and apparently has a particular influence. We'll say a high influence in that person's life at the moment. So when we try to discern deeper into luck, okay, I mean, for sure there are many instances of luck, maybe even the majority, but there are many instances of luck where if we look at the situation and we have a broad perspective on the situation, we can say, well, the thing that happened to that person was actually predictable because it had been set in motion by a normal series of events outside of their common awareness, and that it just came into their awareness at the moment when it seemed to have a particularly contextually impactful meaning to them. Right? Like, whatever, they forgot, like they had a payment coming in that had been established by normal means or whatever, and then they forgot about it, and then it pops back up in the reality right at the right time they needed some money. They go, oh well, good luck, right? That's kind of a loose interpretation of luck, but it's more like good timing. But I think there's a lot of things that are called good luck that I think when we take a broad perspective and we see that it was actually a series of timings that were basically normal events, and when they happen to the person, they just happen to be grateful, or they weren't super aware that like those things have been set into motion. And then when they coincide with whatever the current events are of their life in the moment, then they deem it lucky. Oh, that was good luck. And vice versa. They can have a bunch of stuff they've been putting off and they had just been in denial about, and they had put it out of their conscious mind. And then when it comes into play at their life at a certain moment, they go, oh man, my rotten luck, my bad luck. But in both these instances, they were relatively normal series of events that just sort of sequenced in at a particular moment, right? But then we escalate to another echelon of luck where the person involved did not set into motion the events that are going to come and be sequenced into their life that then they refer to as lucky. And that it could be anything, but things of a more random nature, just random appearances by people with good news, random events that have very specific positive impacts on the person. They could be things like falling in love, obviously, gifts, money, job opportunities, any kind of like opportunity or material resource or positive perspective or relationship that could just seemingly randomly come in. And usually it's when it's deemed to be lucky, if you examine it further into the person and what their values were and what they were desiring in that moment, it usually matches up with something in their field that they had been desiring for a length of time, something that they've been wishing for, or something that was fundamentally having a sort of completion aspect to their life, or something that they like, uh, really were hoping would happen, and then did happen. And if you look at it, there wasn't any necessarily like in some of these cases they set it into motion, like maybe they were on a dating app and then the person they really were into like linked up with them, and then oh well, that's lucky, and that is luck. But then there were things, there's so many cases of things that where the person had they were not a catalyst in setting motions into event, which then resulted in some like very fortuitous thing happening to them. And in some cases, like they were completely out of the loop. It was just they were just completely randomly put into a position for the fortuitous thing, or in some cases for the unfortunate thing. Right? Like some people get killed in car accidents, some people get on, their commercial flight, the crashes in the ocean, See, there's both. Some people fall in love and some people are getting killed. It's seemingly random, right? And so when we look into that echelon of luck and we try to drill further in, we go, well, what's going in here? And we remember the standard definition, which also, it was kind of a bifurcated standard definition. Well, there's these good things, these things that happen, and then there's these random things that happen in people's lives they call luck, and then there's also, oh, well, that's their fate or lot in life, right? So really, like, and we have evidence for both in terms of what we would consider normally random. If a person sets something into motion and then it comes back to them, that's not really necessarily random. That's just the sequencing is occurring in a way in which they didn't necessarily think the sequencing and timing were going to occur. And so that can often be confused for random. When it's not, it's happening when it happens. But in these scenarios where the person did not catalyze the initial sequence of events that then come to bear on their life in many cases when they're using the word luck, they mean in a disproportionate manner, either good or bad, but it has a strong effect on them, then that is starting to look more like, well, then they can say, well, that's fate or lot in life. But at that moment, you really have a choice, because if something's truly random, if you believe it, if you can believe in true randomness, and then you have to say, well, do I believe in fatalism? Like that's my fate. Can it be truly can there be true fate and true randomness like coinciding? Because if you really think that there's just like you have your fate and it's determined, then even things that seemingly random, then you're ascribing, then that person would be ascribing the randomness to some sort of organized thought behind the scenes, right? If you really believe in fatalism, that means that there's some sort of, you either believe that there's an ultimate algorithm that cannot be defied and certainly can be discerned, so that there's no surprises in life ever. If you're a fatalist, if you really believe in like fate with no free will, then there actually is no randomness. There's just temporary chaos in a very determined function that you don't understand at the moment. And at some point, you've decided to just abandon any idea that there's any randomness or free flow to it. And you just go, well, I may not understand at the moment, but that's just fate. And everything's already determined. And anything that happens in my life, no matter how random it seems, no matter how much it seems like it's sourced by something else or put into motion by something else, it doesn't matter, because it's just the way it's supposed to be, and now it's happening, and that's all there is to it. As opposed to, in that moment, if a person says, oh man, this truly is random, that means there's free play involved. It means there's all sorts of other determining factors that would be associated with free will in that moment. You go, some people who get lucky moments that they didn't set into motion go, well, I have a value system that makes me an antenna for, in the free will universe, for these sort of random, positive, awesome things to happen. And I can't predict what those are, but I have faith that, or I have trust that I've examined the system of life enough to know that it does allow for a sort of area of randomness, of positive or negative randomness, depending on your attitude. And I find that when I consciously live with this idea of positive randomness being able to occur to me, that more positive randomness happens, because the design of the universe is that in order to make myself more eligible for positive randomness, I have to consciously express it to the universe, to the reality that I am a conduit for positive randomness. As opposed to the person who's more fatalistic, in that moment they would say, well, that's fine that something nice, even something nice randomly happened to me, but it's still fate. It doesn't matter whether I believe it or not. I don't really believe that there's anything working behind the scenes on this other than some sort of, basically, they say if you distill all of the pathways that the universe can take, you can basically discern not just a unified field, but like a algorithm that's very predictable and there's no surprises in it. And then they go, oh, okay, fine, it happened, right? Now, as you can tell just by my describing it, there are many other benefits. There are many emotional benefits, depending on what your perspective is, of luck in the moment. If you think good luck is there because it's an affirmation of your good attitude and receptive emotional aura and attitude of life, then when you receive these things, it can spark joy in you. Spark joy being this ephemeral, life affirming emotion of energy and resources and all sorts of things being felt at once by the person, as opposed to if the person's fatalistic in that moment of luck, then they can register that something technically, logically has happened, but they don't register joy about it because there's nothing unique or special about it. And really, in those moments of luck, maybe the best gift we can get when we receive moments of luck is we can assess what our emotional reaction is, and it lets us really know how we feel about our relationship with the universe, because in that moment the universe is delivering to the individual. And in that moment of the universe actually working for someone's life experience, especially in the case of a positive random event occurring, of course, like, if you if something terrible happens, if something very unlucky happens, then you're not going to be necessarily in a positive mind frame to do this exercise. But in the accounting of a positive random experience, and you're asking yourself in that moment, hey, is this probabilistic good luck because this is an affirmation of like the free will aspect of the universe, and this is evidence that the universe works for the individual how it's supposed to, and now it's delivering this exciting, beautiful moment for me that I can enjoy? Or are you in a moment where you find out about yourself that you don't have any joy in your life? Oh, well, this analytically good thing happened to me, but not only am I not going to take it any deeper as a window, as this obvious connection from the machine that is the reality has lined up for me in this specific moment and delivered me something that I actually care about, like actually in alignment with my value system. And as that energy rushes in, I acknowledge that and I just don't feel anything about it. I just say, well, that's how the universe works, and that's fate, and that's that. And if that's your reaction to the universe working on your behalf to deliver something that's unique to you to make you happy, and you can't find joy, well, then that's a good place for self-awareness to begin and ask yourself, why in those moments, why don't I feel joy? Why don't I feel life? Now, in the case of unluckiness, if you have the internal strength to do it, you can also do the same exercise. If something bad happens, you go, well, you can view it, you can feel, the badness of it, like, oh man, my life just got negatively changed, or, from my perception, negatively changed. But you can also say, well, wow, this is an affirmation that my life is occurring and that it is unique to me, and that I am in life and I am a part of it, and it hasn't forgotten about me, and that it is, my life continues, because as we know, life has highs and lows. To create a worldview and approach to life that denies the lows or denies the negatives will make you delusional, just in the same way that denying the positives will make you delusional. It's a fully integrated experience, and luck works on both sides of the spectrum in that regard. Now, so essentially what I'm saying is that when lucky things occur to us, it's a good time to register our emotions, become aware of it, feel them first. Don't analyze ourselves out of them, but we feel the emotions of those moments, and then we can go into them, and then that's kind of how we pick up information for study, for philosophical studies. Is later on we go, oh, well, when this thing happened, what did that reveal to me? What did that give me access to? We're in life, so when these events happen to us, that's what helps us, gives us the experience to meditate on, to figure out the wisdoms of the moment. The universe is really operating with us in those moments of luck, be they good or be they bad. It's a direct connection to life itself when those things are happening, and we're feeling an intense emotion because we can feel our life changing in those moments. And when we feel our life changing in those moments, that's when we can feel life maybe most intensely, because it demands our attention, and we can't really take our attention off of it, because many of the more animal functions in our body pull us into the visceral moment to deal with it. Like, can't really zone out on it. You zone out later. And luck provides that opportunity one way or the other. And, a lot of people, going back to the beginning, where some people strategize for luck in their life, it's because the life-affirming feeling of luck is so good. It's not just that when people go gambling or whatever, it's not just that they want the money. They do. But it's the feeling of things working out for them in that moment. That's really, I think, the deeper feeling that people are searching for. I mean, for sure, the money, but also they want that deep connection to life itself, which is provided on either side of luck. It's just a deep connection to life, and it lets us know we're here, and it lets us know we're alive, and it's a great affirmation of existence, because ultimately, like when we really pull out as a philosopher on the scale of life, and we see that we didn't exist prior to our birth, and we cease to exist in the physical plane after our death, and we put our lifespan in relation to what's going on with life in general, that alone is obviously lucky. It doesn't matter if you're a secular person or a believer. It doesn't matter if you think this is just all random nonsense or there's like some great design. Just the math bears out the fact that us having a body and being aware in the reality is unbelievably lucky. Unbelievably lucky. And so that experience of feeling lucky, it should be with us to some degree every second that we're in the body, because we are that lucky. Well, I hope you found this helpful. Thanks for spending some time down here at Philosopher's Corner with me. What is luck? I think being alive is lucky. So have fun out there and keep being lucky.